Okay, guys, I believe we have covered till here working with object variables, right? So where we can create instance of the object, and after that we can work with the object variable where we can access fields and put data inside fields. Finally do the DML, right? So little bit idea of DML I have given you in the last session, I think. So today we'll be trying to cover in detail how DML works. Okay. Then I have given you document to read out the operators. I believe you have done it, right? So those will be using throughout the development, correct? And now we will be jumping into control flow statements. Okay. Sorry. Then so what actually control flow statement is? So I have prepared a document already, right? So basically, to control your logic, right, inside the Apex, to control the flow of your transaction, there are some you can say procedures and methods have been you can say provided by the Apex framework, right? So those you can use to control your flow, control your logic, and control your transaction. Okay, so that's how these are, you can say, called control flow statements, right? So if you see the theory a little bit, just like you can say it is mentioned, you need to control how your code executes, right? So means how your transaction happens, right? So you had basically two type like conditional and looping means in what condition what should be executed, that kind of you can say approach. And looping means if you want some part of the code to be executed again and again, or uh, with some definite number of iterations, means a different number of time it should be repeated, then you use the loops, right? So that kind of approach is called looping. So both we have, we'll be elaborating in detail those, right? So if you see this document is there, I will be writing it to you. You can just go through it, but I will be explaining this, and we'll be doing the practical here also. Okay. So let's start with the conditional statement. So here we have like if else, you might have already known, right? So whoever have the idea about coding little bit, every basically every language or every framework is having this if else approach, right? So means with a condition you define there, if that condition is true or false, some code executes. If it is false, some code executes, right? So the same thing is here. If you see, if and inside parenthesis you define some condition that should be that is statement should be returning the boolean, correct? So if that condition is true or false, right, based on that, part of code here executes, or otherwise in the else it executes, right? So simple, you can make a chain of if else, you can say blocks, right? So you have two blocks, if and else. So if you go here and let's see to our developer console. Okay. Okay. So that's how your conditional statement, you can say, is a structure, right? So you will be having this if keyword, and after that a parenthesis, and inside parenthesis you will be having the condition. This condition should be boolean, right? So anything you want to check here, and if this part is true, then just after this parenthesis, what curly braces will be starting, code inside this will be executed, correct? Code if condition is true, and if this condition is not true, then it will go to the else part, and here the code or the logic will be here, it will be executing that, right? Simple as that. So uh, this kind of, you can say, structure is there, and you can follow it with the chaining also. If you copy here and see that kind of structure is there, right? So you can follow up your conditions, like if you can put one condition here, right? And then followed by else if, right? So this is called else if. So you put else if, so first it will be checking this one. If this is true, it will be executing this one, right? And if it is not true, it will be going here in this second, you can say, step, and it will be checking this condition, right? Then if this is also not true, then it will be going to else part. Okay, so that kind of chaining you can do. All right, so this is called chaining of if else. So you can put all these three kind of, you can say, conditions, right? So if you don't want to put the else, there is no need, like there's no mandate. You can just put simply if condition, and if it is true, it will be executed, otherwise it will be leaving this part of the code, and it will be going to the next line, whatever is put there, right? With if else, it, if this is true, it will be executing this one, or otherwise it will be executing the else part. In this one, it will be checking step by step. First it will be checking this and this. Okay, so this is called if else. So if we have, consider, okay, let's create one example. If you guys remember, that's how you structure your class, right? First your class initialization, then your method. Okay, so we'll be checking here, like let's have mm, input parameter of type, then call it day. Okay, and here you can put if else. Okay, let's try if, and here check if days. Now, if you want to compare two string, then you might have added the, you can say, operators, right? So if you want to compare two string, then you need to compare it by double equals, right? So that's how you compare a string. Then if you put here Monday, okay, so it will check that, if the day is Monday or not, right? So it it will be checking literally if it is Monday or not. It is case sensitive, so we'll be putting the input as case sensitive only. Okay, then it will be executing this part, right? So how will we know that this is executed? We'll be putting our debug. Okay, and we can put, okay, and else. In else also, we need to know if this code is executing this else part, then we need to check. We need to put a debug. It is not Monday. Okay. So let's save it. Try to save it if there is any issue or not. The code is saved, so I don't think it is having any issue, right? So now, if we need to execute it, then open the anonymous window. Here, we need to call the class, call the method. Then, since it is a static method, we can directly call the, you can say method, and method will be associated with the class itself, right? So from the class itself, we can call, okay? Now, what it will be taking? It will be taking a string value as an input parameter, right? So that's how I can execute my code here, method here, call method and execute the code. Let's see. Now, if you open your debug, so it is Monday, right? So now this part is executed, right? So because we are providing here Monday, this one. So here, if it is going in this part, it is checking if this variable what we have provided is Monday or not. So it is checking, yes, it is Monday. It is executing this part, right? Now, if you go here and you provide something else, Tuesday, okay, and then execute, then it will be executed like it is not Monday, right? So simple as that. So that's the first logic. And then if you need to check if else condition, else if condition, right? Then you can put here else if and your Boolean condition Tuesday, then it is Tuesday, right? And then just like this, you can chain up to all the weeks, right? So it's not issue. You can just go by else if you want till what level you want to go. Okay. Then okay. So maybe some this kind of a we can have. So it will be providing Monday, Tuesday. It will be recognizing and it will be printing those names. Otherwise, it will be printing that we are not recognizing. Okay. So now, if you, first let's save it. Okay. Now, if we try to execute, see, it is Tuesday. Now this part is executed because first it is checking this one and it is false. You know that Apex will be executed line by line here. So this part is false. It is going and checking this part, and this part it is finding as true. So it is printing this one. Okay. Now if you go and here pass another thing, anything, right? Try to execute, it will fall into the third section, else section, right? They not recognized. Okay, so that's how you control your if else, right? And the next will be your switch statement. Okay, so switch is basically this is the, you can say, structure of switch statement, right? Copy. and we are done with this if else. So if we paste it here only, if you see, uh, we have this, you can say, structure. Basically, don't go on this variable we have not mentioned yet. So what we can do, if we have a variable and we are expecting multiple values, right? Multiple definite values means, like, consider if we have a, you can say, variable that is expecting a week value of the week, right? Then we will be expecting 7 values, right? Sunday to Monday, okay, and all other 7 values. Then we can, you can say, make a structure like this. Switch on variable. Here we'll be putting our variable, right? And then on those values that can be assigned, or that can be for this variable, on this we can execute our part of code, right? And we'll be having a default section at last. When else means, if those values are not here, any value is not matching, then it will fall and execute this code, right? So how it will do, like, we already had this executed with if else, right? The day check and that example. So we already have this variable, right? So this variable is declared here, right, in the input parameter. So we can use this one right here. So we will be checking for day, switch on day, okay. Then we'll be checking what value it can take, okay. Then it will be here what values it can hold. It can hold Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's what we are expecting, right? But if it is not, then it's like, it will be falling into this curly braces, and whatever will be executing here, it will be executing this part. And otherwise, if it finds any of the match, it will be executing this part, okay. So here, if what values will be giving, we can give Monday, okay, and we can give, let's try this one, Tuesday. So basically, this is the condition you are putting, right? Okay, so this is the variable, and when these are the keywords, you need to put that in that structure only, right? Switch on, this one is keyword, and here your variable will be going. This, in the first section, you will be checking your variable's value. If this variable is holding this value, then this part will be executed, okay. So that's how your switch on statement is, switch on, you can say, conditional statements are written, right? So now if you can put here debug to just know that this part is executed or not, right? So that's how you'll be knowing. Okay, now same thing we'll be doing for here, Tuesday, okay. Now here, what will you will be doing, you need to check sometimes, okay, if this is going here in this section or not, right? So some kind of just identifier that we are having a different thing printed up. Now, if you save, there is no syntax error for now, so this syntax should be correct, and we can go here. Now, if we try to give Monday as input, then you see it's Monday. Now, this variable here, we are setting this variable's value as soon as we are calling this method, right? So this value has been set to Monday. Now, as soon as it is getting here in line number 5, and it is checking that, okay, this variable I need to check for, and inside that it is checking the first condition, that it is Monday or not, right? So it is equal to Monday or not. So now it is checking that it is true, so this part it is executing, right? Same way it will be checking for Tuesday, and then if both of the values are not matching, or whatever values you are mentioning here, if both are not mentioning, some all are not matching, then it will be falling into this section. It will be executing whatever is mentioned here, okay. So you just try here Tuesday, okay, and execute it. See, it is Tuesday, and if you execute it with some other value, those you have not mentioned there, okay, then you check it, not recognized. Same thing. Okay, so that's how you can control with the switch on and if else, right? So what is the structure of switch on? You see here you will be having a parent curly braces on this syntax switch on and your variable name, correct? This is written here, so you can read out and practice. So it will be very easy for you, right? So here you see, this is the first line. Here you will be having the parent, you can say curly braces. Then after that, you will be having your when statement, first when statement with following curly braces. Okay, and similar way you will be having other when statements, and at the last when you will be done with the all when statements with the values, you'll be having a default when else, when that will be executed when none of the values will be matching. Okay, and that's how you can structure your switch on statements. Okay, so these two, you can say, are basically to control your conditional flow of the code, right? So your transaction, where to go, which part to be executed, which part to not to be executed. Then you use this kind of approach, right? So these two are basically used a lot. You can say a lot in Salesforce. If else and the switch on, you'll be using very much, right? So please go through it, right? And then we will be going to our second control flow statement, that is looping, means re-execution of the same part of the code, right? Code or logic, whatever you'll be putting there. So for that we use looping, right? So if you go to your index, here you see we have a lot type of, you can say, loops, right? So we can do looping with for loop also, we can do looping with while, we can do with do while also, right? Although you will be using for mostly in 99% of cases. In 1% cases, I'm not sure if someone uses or not while or do while, but anyway, we'll be telling you so that at least you know. Okay, and this one basically for this for is kind of, you will be working with primitive data types, not an issue, but this will be the exact one that you will be using, right? Because you will be mostly iterating over the records and everything. So for that you need to work with for each loop, right? So these are basically same, everything is same, just a syntax difference is there while you initialize that block, right? So a little bit difference is there that I will be teaching you, right? Then you have break and continue, how to control your loop, right? Means if you are you want in certain conditions you want to skip that you can say iteration, then how you can do it, and in certain condition if you want to get out of the loop, that you can control, right? So that's how you can control with your loop also with break and continue, right? And so let's get started. And if you see here, this is simple example of your, you can say, for loop. This is very basics, in any language, if you read it, you know it, that that's how you initialize a for loop, right? So for loop, what it will be taking, it will be okay. So for loop, how you go, initialize or how you structure the for loop. What is the syntax? Then this is the syntax, right? So for loop will be taking a, you'll be finding that in the document also, right? Like what should be where. Okay. So if you see here in for loop, inside for loop, you will be having this kind of, you can say, structure, right? So first you need to define your variable, correct? that would be with data type. Similar way how you initialize your variable, right? So similar way you can do here inside this parenthesis, right? After for keyword, you will be having the parenthesis. Inside that, first you need to initialize your variable. That will be with data type. Similar way how you define your variable somewhere else in the Apex, you need to define it here also, right? Data type, variable name, and value. Okay. Then separated by semicolon, you will be having the condition, right? So till what condition this loop should be executed, right? So that condition you need to put in the second part here, and this will be the condition till this loop will be running. Okay. And then separated by semicolon, increment or decrement of the, you can say, variable what you have initialized here, right? So how this will be controlled? First, this knows that this is the initial value of the variable. Okay. Then it will be checking here in the second part. It will be checking here if this value, what current value this variable is holding, it is less than 10 or not. Okay. Then it will be checking, yes, it is 10. Then it will be executing this, you can say, part of code what you will be writing here. And then at last, when this, you can say, one iteration will be done. Iteration means once the code will be executed till here, till this braces to this braces, then it will be going here and will be incrementing this variable with one. Okay, because we are adding one. I plus plus means, you already might have read into the operators, right? So if you do I plus plus, that will be, you can say, like addition one into the variable, right? You can do it here also, or it is not. If it is not necessary to do it here, you can do in the last part of the code. You can increment the variable here also. But at last it will be checking that variable again here, that if it is less than 10 or not, and it will be executing the code again if it is not. And if this condition returns to true, right, then it will be going out of the loop, right? So let's see how this happens or not. Let's see. Right, so if you put test here only, simply test. Let's see our syntax is correct or not. Yeah, syntax is correct. So now if we can remove this, right? So we don't want the input parameter now. Let's see. Okay, now if we execute our method and you go to debug, now you see this has been iterated. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So in first go, it is having zero value, and this one is printed, and then it is incrementing by one. So in the second go, it is having one, that is less than by 10, and then it is executing, right? So then from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10, as soon as the value is 10, then it is checking 10 is less than 10 or not. So that condition goes to false, and it gets out of the loop. Okay. So since we are starting from 0, that's how it is printing 10 times. If we were starting from 1, and so the 10th condition would not be, you can say, followed inside this bracket, because this condition will turn into false, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, this condition will be turning into false, right? As soon as this will be 10, so 10 is not less than 10, right? It is equal to, but it is not less than, right? So it will be turning false, and then it will not execute this part, and it will go out of the loop. Okay. So that's how it is, you can say, executing 10 times, because we are starting from 0, right? If you write down every time, so if you can print here also, right, like value, you can put some spaces, and then concatenation and your variable. Maybe let's see if it's not throwing any error. Yes, correct. So this variable is this variable, since we are declaring here inside this for loop. So inside this, you can say curly braces. This is the adjacent curly braces, right? For this variable, we can access this variable inside this curly braces only, right? So if you'll be trying to access this outside this curly braces, it will not be accessible if you have read the scope of the variable, right? So this we can access here inside this curly braces, right? So now we will be printing this variable also. Let's see in each loop, right? So if you go here and see now in each loop, what are the values? Till 9 it is printing, but as soon as it is 10, what it is doing, it is not executing this part because this condition is turning to false and it is going outside the loop. Okay, so that's how. So if you want to verify, like, if you want to verify and it is going outside the loop or not. Okay. Let's try to save it. It is not throwing any error. Yes, it is saved. So it might not hit any error. You see, on the 10th, you can say iteration, it is going outside the loop, right? So first it is executing the for loop 10 times and it is going outside the loop. As soon as the value is 10 in the 11th loop, it is going outside the loop. Okay, it is printing this one. So that's how you do your for loop, right? For loop. And then you have a for each, right? So let's do this while and do while, then we'll be doing the for each. So because that will be a little bit elaborative, we'll be using our object, you can say collections, record collections. Okay, then there is while loop. Similar kind of approach is there, right? But in while loop, what it is done, it is a little bit different structure. If you go here and see, let's get rid of this. Right now, if you put here, this is the structure that while loop follows, right? So first you need to have you can say any variable. So it will be checking boolean, like, you need to put a while keyword here, then inside parenthesis it will be checking that condition is true or not. Then it is true, right? So then it will be executing this part of the code, right? And then till this condition is false, it will be executing the code, right? So similar kind of approach is there, right? So you can just put here. We are printing our variable only. Okay, so now if you try to save it. No, okay. So similar thing here. After while you'll be having your boolean and then curly braces, and here increment or decrement, right? So similar like in for loop you can do also, right? You can have your increment or decrement after that. You can say your code executes here also. It's not like necessary you need to have inside parentheses, right? Same. So same approach is here also. Just it is executed with the while you can say keyword, right? So if you go and execute co debug, now you are having like this is similar way it is controlling the looping, right? So 5 time it is executing and it is sixth time when the you can say in the sixth iteration it is going outside the loop, right? So that's how you control your looping with while loop. Okay, this is called while loop. Now you have do while loop here also. So here there is a little bit difference inside in between this while and do while. So here you see executes a block of code at least once and then continues based on a condition, right? So what it will do, it will, if you copy it and you put it here, okay. So now if you see, first you have a do section, then you have a while section at the last, right? So in the earlier what you were having a while condition, then curly braces. So unless the condition was false, that part was being executed, right? But here, what is the scenario? Here the scenario is first, because code will be executed just like this, right? So from top to bottom, right? So let's separate a little bit. So if you see here, what it will do, it will first go and execute this part, okay? This part here, and then it will check for the condition, and then if the condition is true, it will go and again execute in the, you can say this part, and then it will keep executing unless this condition is false, okay? So that's what it does. But what is the difference? The difference is, in other loops, you can say first it checks for the condition if it is true or not. If it is true, then only it executes the block code what you are expecting to be executed, right? But in this case, it is not true. In this case, first it executes once this code and then checks for the condition, right? So that's how do while loop are you can say structured. It will execute anyway if the condition is true or false, this part of code once, and then it will, you can say, check for the condition here, right? So let's first see if it is working here or not. Let's try to save it, execute it, right? Check the debug outside the loop, right? If you go here, count to 0. It should.
I think we need to add some print statement inside the loop.
Oh, good. That's why I was thinking that one of it is printed. Simply we can print our variable, right? Not we need to do. Then if we try to execute, okay, so it is behaving, just like this till 4. It is executing, you see, and as soon as it is 5, it is going outside the loop and it is printing there. Okay, printing the outside the loop print statement. Okay, so if you need to check, like, in the first go it is executing or not, in this code it is executing or not, then we can put condition like, here we can, sorry, we can put here like 1, okay, initialize our variable by 1, and here we can put 1 also. Now what we did, we did put here a false condition, means since we are initializing our variable with 1, right? So this part should be, you can say, false, right? Because 1 is not less than 1, right? So now in other loops, if this was the condition, right, so the code inside the curly braces or the code you are expecting, that will not be executed, right? But in this one it should be executed. That's what the theory is saying, right? So at least this part should be executed once, then it will increment. We can remove increment also, maybe, right? And we try to save it, and here as soon as it will be going here, it will find that this condition is false, right? And it will go outside the loop. Okay, so let's try to execute. So see, this is at least executing once, even if the condition is false, right? So that's what it is. It is doing, like, even your condition is false, it will be executed once, and then it will check for the condition, and if the condition is false, right, then it will go outside the loop, right? So no matter what you put here, right, so it will Now, if in this case it will checking 5 is less than 1, right? Then also it will be at least, you can say, execute, it will be executed at least by once. Okay. So that's how do while loops are structured. Okay. So all theory is there. Now you need to, you can say, uh, learn a little bit about break and continue, right? So that's how you control your loops. Means in case of, like, in case of real scenario, if you want your loop to be, you can say, exit in some of the conditions, then you can exit your loop, right? So let's take example of our for loop only. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, we have our for loop, right? So here we can utilize our break and continue also, right? So if, consider we are having 10 iterations, right? But in some, you can say, scenario, you want this to be, you can say, breaking the loop if this reaches till 5, right? So you can put if else condition here, right? So you just put here if else, right? If I, this variable, right? So inside this parenthesis, I equal to maybe 5. Okay. Then what we need to do? We need break. Okay. Simple as that. So what we are trying to do, if you see here in the theory only, what it does, exit exits a loop early, ending its execution immediately. Means as soon as this condition will be met, right? The if you put this statement somewhere, what it will do, it will take the compiler outside the loop, right? Outside this, even if this condition is true only or false only, it doesn't matter, right? Even if this condition is true, as soon as it finds the code finds the break statement, right, it will go outside the loop and it will start executing other code that is there, right? So let's try to see if the syntax is correct or not. Yeah, so we don't find any issue, so the syntax is correct. So here you can see the simple if statement we are putting, not else, right? Let's see, try to execute here. Now you see till 5 it is executing fine, right? But as soon as the I is reaching till 5, it is going and executing this part, right? Every time what it is doing, it is going here in this line, checking this one, then this one, and then it is checking this one also, right? So till 5 this condition is false, so it is skipping this part and going again and checking this one, and then executing this one, and then coming here and checking this one, right? But as soon as it finds that the value is 5, it gets and it goes and executes this part, right? And as soon as it is executing this part, the code comes out of the loop, right? So at 5, it is what it is doing, it is exiting the loop. Okay, so it is getting outside the loop and it is executing this part, right? So if you observe here, till 5 it is doing, but the last after 5 it is going outside the loop and it is printing this, right? So that's how your break statements are written, right? And you do control your loops here, because sometimes you are not expecting your loops, because it's not like every time you will be working with the you can say primitive data types only. So in some conditions your loop needs to get out of the you can say looping or iterations, right? So then you use a lot this break statement, right? Now see what does continue does, right? So continue is basically structured or utilized to skip that iteration, right? So if this value is, you can say, in some conditions, if you want to skip that iteration, like you don't want that iteration to be happen, then you use continue, right? So for that we need to check it first here, right? Otherwise you will not be you can say able to see that how it is executing, right? So you put code here. So first it is checking that what checking your condition, right? Then here we are putting continue. Okay, so what it will be doing, as soon as it will be finding that the value is 5, right, then it will be skipping the iteration. It will be returning as soon as it will be finding this continue, it will be returning from there only, right? So consider if I was having this outside this print statement, then first it was printing, then it will be finding this continue, right? So that's why I did put here first, so that at that time when it will be finding the continue, it will be returning to check the condition again. So it will not be printing this one, right? So that's how we will be able to visualize it, right? So let's see first if there is no. Okay, it is already saved, I think. Just try to execute. Check out debug. Now you see the fifth one is missing, right? The printing of the 5 integer is missing. Why? Because as in the when the variable is set to 5, at that time it is finding this condition true, and it is executing this part of code. And what is code there? Continue, right? So it is returning from here to the next iteration, correct? So that's how your continue is utilized, right? Anyone is having question in break and continue, guys? Just let me know now, right? Because later we'll be using it. You can have question later also, but if you have any confusion, let me know. Otherwise, we can start our for each loop. Anyone?
Yeah. My question is the continue keyword is like a jump keyword. I'm right?
Jump. More likely, you can say skip. Jump is fine. I mean, yeah, jump to next iteration. But as soon as you see you say skip, na, so that makes more sense. Correct. So as soon as the only thing is where you are putting this continue statement with condition, correct? So till if I put debug here, right? So consider if I put debug here, then what it will do? It will start from here and it will execute this one and then find continue and then it will be going to check the condition. And that is happening anyway, right? So it is printing and then it is coming till here. This is last
Yeah.
part of the code, correct?
Yeah.
So it is going from here to here. So that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you want to use the continue and some part of the code you does not want to be executed, or you can just put initially as soon as your block starts, you can put this condition. So first it will check the condition. If it is the condition you want to skip that iteration, means other code, then this condition other code, if you want, what will be the logic written here, you want to skip in that condition when your condition returns to true, right? Then you want to just return from here in some cases, right? So you can do it like using continue. So it will go here as soon as it will be finding this continue keyword, it will be returning and going to next iteration. So it
Okay.
is more likely skip, right?
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Anything else, guys, till here? In whole control flow statement, if you have any doubt or any question, you can ask now, because then we should start our for each loop. So how it is structured, how we can utilize it, that will be starting. Okay. Nothing. Okay. 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 Let's see structure of our for each loop, right? So pay attention, guys, that will be very important. So because we'll be using this a lot, correct? So if you see here, yeah, okay. Now let's try it. So what I'm doing here, if you guys already know, I don't have to, explain again what we are doing here in this line, right? So simply we are initializing a string, right? So here the declaration of the string, oh sorry, list, correct? List of a string, correct? So here we are initializing our, declaring our list of a string, and here we are providing values, right? So if you see the older classes, guys, so here we are providing values, right? So simply there is a list of a string that we are populating with these values. Okay, so nothing fancy here, right? So very simple list of a string that has been put with these values. Okay, now this is your for each loop, right? So how it is structured, it is structured like this one, right? So you will be putting your, you can say, condition of looping here. So what it will do, first, it will take the data type and your local variable. This is called local variable that will be accessed throughout this curly braces only. That will be your local variable, and then colon. After colon, you will be putting the collection, right? So whatever collection you will be putting here, for each value of that collection, this for loop will be running. Now, reiterate this statement what I have made, guys. What collection you will be putting here, right? Don't get confused. Let's name it, name collection. Okay, and save it. Now it should be fine. Okay, so now you know this is collection. So after colon, you will be mentioning a collection. For each element of that collection, this for loop will be running, right? So it has three, you can say entries. So it has three, you can say, strings inside this collection, right? So this for loop will be running three times. That I know, you know, because you can see here that we are doing this much, right? But if in the code, it will, these values will be coming from somewhere else, and you don't know the, you can say, number or something, then you will be only telling, like, how many times this loop will be running, that much, you can say, values or that number of values this collection will be holding. This can be list, set, or map, anything, right? So it should be a collection. After colon, you will be mentioning the collection, and here it will be having a local, you can say, variable that will be of the same type of the collection elements, right? Because in each iteration, the, you can say, on which parameter this loop will be, like in the first iteration, this loop inside this collection, it will be in this parameter, right? Is in this property. Okay, then this property will be assigned to this local variable. That's how these local variable are used. That's how, why these are here, right? So in the first iteration, this, you can say, property, this string will be assigned to this variable, and you can utilize it further inside this, you can say, block. And in the second iteration, when the loop will be iterating on the second one, then this will be assigned to this one. Okay, and third one, this will be assigned to this one automatically, right? So that's how you do it. So because these are being assigned to this variable, then then it is a strongly typed language, right? So this variable should be of same data type, then only this can be assigned, right? The values inside that collection can be assigned to the same data type, right? So that's how you are mentioning here a string type of variable, local variable, right? You can put anything, right? Not, if you're not confusing, that's fine. If you're confusing, you can rename anything, right? So that you can access here. That's how we are accessing here this name, right? So simple, your local variable, what type of collection is there, what type of, what data type it is holding, your collection, what data type it is holding, that data type will be here, your local variable name, colon, and then your collection name. Simple as that, right? Your collections data type means what your collection is storing. That data type here, your variable name, colon and then your collection. Simple as that, right? So this is for each loop, means for each element of that collection, it will be iterating, and in each iteration, that element will be assigned to this local variable, what we can process inside this, right? So if it is assigned to this one, we can do anything with that variable inside this loop, right? Mostly this has been done only. That will be showing later, okay? So now if you see here, this one is not having any issue. I think let's save it. Simple. You are creating a collection so that you can iterate over it, right? And then you are creating a for each loop here, and you are printing each element of that loop. Simple, because in each loop, the element will be assigned to this local variable, and we are printing this local variable. So my statement should be coming out correctly. Okay, let's try to execute it. Now you see each element is being printed, because each time here element is being assigned to this local variable, and we are simply printing the local variable, nothing else, right? So that is true that element is being assigned to this one in each iteration. In what iteration the loop will be, that element will be assigned to this local variable, and we can work with that local variable, and the local variable will be holding the value of element which will be iterated at that time, and that's how it can be processed. Whatever operation we want to do here, we can do here, right? So this will be your for each loop, right? So simple as that. Collection, local variable, right? And working with the local variable here, right? You can work with the collection also, you can have new collection also, not an issue, but just simple as that. This is your for each loop, and you will be using a lot, because every time you will be having your circles and your collection of records in a list, right? You'll be working throughout those collections using the loops only. That will be for each loop, right? And so you'll be having here your, you can say, a collection of records, and here there will be record variable, right? So you already know how you create a record variable. You create an instance of the object, right? So here, like, you will be having a account, you can say, a collection of account records, then you will be having a variable of type account here, right? So that will be showing. It is a simple, what type of collection will be there. That simple same data type will be mentioned here, and the variable will be the same data type. Any question on this one, guys? For each loop, this is very important. So if you have any doubt, just let me know now. Anything, guys? Nothing? Okay. The last control statement we are having is try catch finally, right? So that is exception handling. But if you see our index here, right? So we will be having this exception handling a little bit late when we'll be doing our DML, right? Simply, I will tell you the theory now, and we'll be showing you the practical when we'll be doing the DML. So that's where you can see it, actually visualize it, how try catch finally is being executed. So why this try catch finally is there? This controls your statement, or your some part of the code statement. Like, if you are running a transaction, right? So if consider your code is there in production, right? It is running fine and everything, but what happens, in some of the edge cases, it finds the edge case and it hits some of the logical error in your code, right? Or some condition, like you are making a DML, right? And some conditions at the object level has been changed, and your code is still same, right? Now consider you have a field that you are not putting inside your code, you are not filling that field, and later someone makes that field mandatory, correct? From the UI, that can happen, right? Now what will be done, as soon as your code will run again after that field being mandatory, your entire code will fail, because as soon as there will be an error in one of the line, the entire transaction will be stopped at that time, and it will be rolled back. Roll back, you mean no, right? So as soon as your code will be hitting the error, your transaction till that line what has been you can say executed in the instance, that will be rolled back, and the same condition will be restored, right? Same you can say thing will be restored what was there before the transaction started, correct? So your code will basically throw error, and that will break, right? So that will happen when this kind of conditions are coming, right? So for that, this try catch finally block is there, right? So what it does, if you have any suspect, right, in future this part of the code can throw some error, right? Because you don't have any control on that, right? Like the DML example I have given you, right? So if you are like, there are 10 fields, and you are filling 5 fields, and those 5 fields, those are you are not filling from here, and those are not required for now, but later some admin goes there, and they make the sixth field mandatory. Now, if you are doing a DML in your, you can say, Apex, and someone is utilizing that Apex, right? Then it will start throwing error. The transaction will be failing. Now you have the idea, right? That can happen, right? So what you can do, you can put that piece of code, what is doing that, which is doing that DML, right? Like it is inserting a betting or something, you can put inside this try block, right? Then what it do, it will do, it is code that might throw an exception. So developer should be having idea, okay, this code can throw error in future if someone you can say plays with other configuration in the org, right? So you can put that code here, and if there is any error in this code, right, then your transaction will not fail. What will it will do, it will go to this catch block, correct? And here in the catch block, it will execute this code, whatever it will be there. So basically most likely what we do, we print our you can say issue what is there. So for that we take input parameter exception, right? This is a special parameter that cache part is taking, like this is you can say, if you go there and see try catch and finally in the documentation, you'll be finding that what other things you can say access here. So this e variable will be holding the information about the exception or error that you faced here in the try block, right? So you can print that error message here in the catch block, right? And uh, that will be executed once this will be hitting the, you can say, uh, error, right? So that's how your try catch is structured, right? So here you'll be putting that part of code, like here if you go simply, I can put this whole code also inside try catch. It will not show any syntax error or something, right? So if I am just, you can say, expecting some of the error, right? Then I can put it inside the try block, and it will execute same. But if in some condition it will throw error, it will not roll back the whole transaction. It will go to the next line here in the catch. It will be executing this part, and then it will be going forward till the end of the transaction, right? So that's how big codes are handled, correct? So if one of the logic is failing, it should not be like, it should fail the entire transaction, right? So it will execute the catch block, and it will let you know, or you can put some email action here, so that you are finding any error, it will email directly to you that this is the error we got in this transaction, and please go and resolve this error. Okay, so that kind of action you do. So what finally does, so we have finally here as optional also, right? So try will be there. If you implement try, then you need to have that catch part also, right? And after this you have finally also, right? So what does happen in the finally? So first the structure, like first it executes the try, then if there are any errors here in try log, then it executes the catch, right? But after this all, fine, if you put the finally and some code inside the finally, each time the finally will be executed, right? Whether it is hitting any error or not, the finally will be executed every time. So for that purpose, finally is there, but finally is optional. You can put it there if you want some of the code to be executed every time. You can put finally there, right? Otherwise, it will not be required. Like, it's not mandatory to put there, right? So consider you have this finally here also, it is hitting error, so it will go there, it will execute this and then finally, and if it is not hitting any error, this part is successful, whatever you are putting here in try part, right? Then it will execute this one, it will escape the cache because this part is successful, there is no exception or error here, then it will go and execute finally again, right? So that's how finally is used. How syntaxes and everything is being used, that I will be showing you later, right? Once we'll be doing the DML, right? So just after this, the DML topic is there. So uh, it will be very quick when you will be getting to see this practical. Okay. Now these all are the, you can say, things with which you can control the logic flow of your basically flow, not logic. With this logic you can control the flow of your apex transaction, right? So which part it should execute, which part it should not execute, and what condition it should, you can say, iterate, or how many times that code should be executed, and then after error handling, right? So these, with the help of these all control flow statements, basically you control the transaction of your apex, right? So this is very important, guys, and in any language this is very important, because basically that's the whole steering of that bus you are driving, correct? So that is document I will be providing it to you, and let's see what is next there, right? So I wanted to cover Sockle on this session, but I don't think we can do that. But let's at least start on Sockle, right? Because Sockle is a little bit lengthy topic, so we'll try to cover it, but till tomorrow we need to cover this all topic, I think. So that's how we'll be able to at least interact with the database, right? So let's start on Sockle. What is the basics of the Sockles, right? I have already prepared the document. If we are finishing it today or not, anyway, I will put in the document, so you can just read it out, right, till tomorrow. And tomorrow also we'll be covering the whole document. Okay. So Sockle is what you already know, right? Sockle is basically query language of the Salesforce, right? So here, if you want to query some of the records, basically from an object, then you use Sockle. This is called Salesforce Object Query Language. So if you want to query an object for the records, you use this SOQL. Okay. You have second thing is SOSL also. This, that is Salesforce Object Search Language, right? So that is means it will be searching throughout the objects something that you will be expecting as output, right? So that's totally different thing that will be doing after this one. This one is most important thing. SOSL you will be using very less, but in 95% cases you will be using the Sockle, right? So that's how it is very important, right? So what is the basic structure? And first thing, where you access it, you already know, right? This is your query editor, right? So here basically you put your query, and you can test your query, or you can just visualize your query is working or not. Then later you utilize that query inside your apex, right? So if you are pretty much confident, then you there's no requirement to go here and check it every time your query, you put it there in apex. But yeah, you can put and verify your query here, right? So here you can put SOSL also, you can put SOQL also, right? You see SOQL and SOSL also, right? So let's see the basic structure of the SOQL. If you see here, this follows this structure. If you guys have a little bit idea about SQL, this follows the same structure and everything, right? So a little bit you can read out about SQL also if you want. Otherwise, we are already covering the you can say most of the part here in SOQL, right? So it starts from the select keyword, right? Then after you put fields here, so fields should be comma separated. Means if you want more than one fields to be returned, right, then you need to have those fields by comma separated, right? So fields will be mentioning the API name here, just for clarification. Then you will be having from keyword, right? Between select and from, you will be having fields mentioned, whatever field you want to be fetched, correct? On those records, those you will be mentioning here. Then you'll be having from keyword, and then you'll be mentioning the object which from which object you want to fetch those records, correct? And then after from, you'll be having a condition. So till here, this is basic and this is required, right? So if you copy here, without this you cannot put a query. So if you paste here, now you see inside field, let's see your ID only for now, maybe name also, because these two fields we are quite sure we will be having, right? So if you see, separated by comma, okay. Now you have from keyword and object, we can put anything, right? Maybe account. Let's try to execute. Now what you see, this is fetching id and name from account, right? So now we are not having any condition, but it is fetching all those things, right? So if you see that this is the basic structure, right? Means if you want your circle to be executed, you need to have at least these things: select keyword and those fields you want to fetch, and then from keyword and from which object you want to fetch. Now let's go next. Then you can have your where clause, right? So these are I will be explaining what does that okay, this one we have executed right now, okay. What this where clause does, where clause puts a condition, like, each time when you'll be using the SQL, it is not like you want each and every record, right? There will be millions of the records in the org, so it is not possible to fetch all the records because of the governor limits first, and then even if you fetch it also, how you will know that, this is the record I wanted, and I need to work on these records only. So for that you have where condition. You can call it filter also, you can call it conditional, you can say fetching also, anything, but this is basically filter on your query, that what exactly you want, right? So if you see, there is an example, like, if this is a, you can say, field, right? So we can put a condition based on the field and values, so that will be like, fetching only that record, right? So yeah, here if you see, this one is, I'm not sure if this record we are having, but we'll be seeing anyway, right? If you paste here, let's fetch. We can do a little bit smart here, so we can fetch billing state also, right? So let's execute it. Now you have billing state also, right? So you see, these much records are having billing state as empty, this much is having these values, right? Now if you want to filter only those which are having billing state as California only, right? Then you need to put a where class, right? Clause, and then you need to check what condition. After that you need to put the condition where my billing state equal to, inside single quote, because single quote, we inside single quote will be having a string. This is a string, right? So even if it is pick list or a string, it is a string, right? So then you need to put value here and then execute it, right? Now you see, only those are having billing status CA, those are being filtered here, right? So that's how you can put empty string also, right? If you don't put anything, then this much we are not having any billing state, right? So you see, these has been filtered, right? So if you put here what other values were there, if I cut it, ny is there, right? So then if I put ny, then ny is only that is filtered, right? So that's how you can put a where clause, right? And that will be filtering your records. Those are being fetched, correct, based on the condition that you'll be mentioning after the where clause, right? So this follows the same structure of the conditions that you put basically in the apex, but in some cases, it's not like you can put double equal to here or something. You can just compare those values with the equal to sign, right? So not equal to also you can use, like, if I put here not equal to, it should work. Now you see where New York is not there, because that will be executing it, right? Excluding it, the NY. Okay. Or if I want all accounts where billing state is not empty, correct? So this is empty string. So if it is not empty, I want those only. So if you see, only those records are there which are having that billing state field, correct? So that kind of conditions you can put after the where clause. Okay. Now let's see what is next. These are the, you can say, operators you can have: less than, greater than, not equal to, and like also, right? So like, how to use like, like means it will compare that, two strings, right? If you are having like mentioned there, then you see here, then it will compare the string also, right? So means if you are comparing, if you have a part of a string with you and you want that like uh, you want to find that substring into a string, right, that field is holding, then you can put like there also, right? So if even some of the characters will be matching, then it will be fetching those records also. So how you can do it, you see here, if you fetch those names, you see, if I remove this condition here from here also, okay, you see these names are there, right? So if you want to, like, find all the records, those are like this, right? So then what you need to do, you need to find this is, you need to, you can say, follow this structure, right? Like this one. I'm not putting, you can say, this, you can say, old filter. You can use more than one filter at a time, but right now we are just using, you can say, one filter at a time. So where we don't have last name, we have name only, name field here, right? So name log, like, maybe we have, right? So this percentage, this means, like, it will compare till here, COMP, right? After that, whatever it is, it will fetch all the records, right? So if these four characters are found, right, in any of the record, and after that anything is there in that string, it will fetch all the records, right? And that like operator will make sure that this logic what I am putting here, that if these four characters should be there, rest anything can be there, should be compared in the name field. Okay, so in the condition what we are seeing, in the name field, I need all the records which are having these four characters in the name field, and rest anything can be, right? So let's see. You see, all the records are fetched, right? So if you want any particular record, then you can do both the things, like, if you copy it, right, then you can put the whole value here also, right, like this one, and you can execute it, right? Now you see, this one is being fetched only, right? You can do it that way also, or you can do it that way also. See, now this is also being executed, right? So like can be utilized to get more records with the approximate value of the strings, right? And equal to will be having the exact value. If I put it here, like, something else that is not there, right, then it will not fetch anytime, right? Any record. Okay, but if we use like, and here if we use something like, if I put only a also, right, It is no record is starting from A, but if I put C here, let's see, it is starting from C, right? So first letter it is finding, okay, from C it is starting, rest whatever is there, it will fetch, correct? So that's how you can utilize your like keyword, okay? It's all about you can say, guys, how to find your records by filter, by condition, or anything. So you will be using a lot of circles, right? So you just read out this document also after this session, and we will be performing operations on those fetch records also. Let's see. The next thing is order by, right? So what does this does? This is for, you can say, sorting, you can say, your records. If you are fetching more than one records, or multiple records that you want to order in some you can say way, right? Then you can use this order by clause. After, basically after this from till here, you can have where also to filter out, you can say, records. After that, in the last, you can have this order by clause also, right? So how this order by clause is you can say structured. First you need to put this keyword order by, then you need to put the field name, what by that field, by which field you want to order, sort that records. You need to put that field here, and then you need to put here DESE for descending and AESE for ascending, right? So those you can put both, but two value it will be taking only AESE and DESE. Okay, so ASEC, sorry, ASEC and DESE. I think ASEC is there, right? We'll check out. So if you see here, we are having, consider where clause we are removing. Okay, and we are having this. So we are having here by default sorted by created date, I think so, but we are not sure, right? So we need to sort these all based on the name, right? So we can use order by, right? So let's copy this, and we'll be ordering this by which field, name, okay, and the descending order. Let's see, execute. Now you see, now it is you can say sorting all this in descending, right? It is starting from U and then going from B, C, D, E, G, P, S, Q, S, T, U, V. Okay, so that's how it is ordering your records. Simple as used by this. Let's see what was the S and A, S, E, C. I think that was it. Now A, E.
AESC, AESC.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
What was it? Tell me. A.
Yes.
See, I think if you don't give anything, it will order by ascending order only.
If you don't put ASC, it will automatically order by ascending order.
But in some cases you need to mention those, but you just see the keyword, right? So maybe I have mentioned there also. I'm not sure. Okay, descending is there also, but simple. I think ASC or ASCC something is there, right? So you can put that and that also, right? Now, and so why you put those ascending and descending? Because in some order you want to fetch those records. Simple as that. Okay. So now you have this limit keyword. The next is limit keyword. These all are very much used, right? So anything you want to be skipping, right? So these all things are, because circle is also very much last topic, right? So I have included mostly everything that is used on day-to-day basis. Okay. Now, if you go here, you find this limit clause, right? So limit clause basically is utilized to limit your circle, how many records you will be filtering. Very much utilized because you have limits, Gordon limits also here, so that you can say how many records you can fetch in one circle, or how many circles you can run inside a transaction, right? So those both are the limits you are having, correct? So in some way you need to put either filter, or either you need to put a limit to your record. If consider, if I'm putting this, you can say simple query inside Apex, right? And I have 1 million records. So it will try to fetch all the records, right? And eventually it will be failing because it will hit the governor limit. So at that time, we'll be getting the exception that cannot be handled, right? So if you hit a governor limit, and then you cannot handle that exception, means your code will fail anyway, right? So that's unhandled, you can say, exception you will be fetching if you are putting your sockets without any condition, right? So that is eventually going to happen, because anyway this is a violation also of the code, you can say, quality. So if you are putting a socket, you need to either put a filter or you need to put a limit to your socket. By default, Salesforce will recognize it as a violation of the, you can say, quality standards. Okay, so that's what it does. If you scan your code with some tools and everything, and you are putting any socket without any where condition or any limit, it will point to you that this is a issue with your code. You need to fix that. Okay, so simply you put a limit here, and you can limit it to any number of record. And after limit, there will be an integer only. So you can just put an integer name. Simple as that. The structure is after limit it will be followed by an integer number. Okay. So it will fetch that record. Now here it will play the crucial role. The order by plays the crucial role, because right now it is by default, you can say, I think so, by default it is sorted by created date maybe, but you don't know, right? When you'll be putting this circle, what do you know this is sorted by, right? So at that time you can, if you want only starting two records when it is sorted by orders, right, then you can simply order by name, right? Now maybe descending, and then we can put limit also, right? So now we know that definitely, okay, all the records we are getting in descending order, and then on that order we are getting uh, starting two records only, right? So that's how it will be executed. It will be sorted and you will be getting initially two records, right? So that's how, I mean, just a hint. So that's how you use it, right? You can use you can say multiple, you can say, filters. This is one of the filter, right? So means filter means limiting is also a filter, kind of filter. And here you can use where clause also, right? So that kind of you can say structure, you can say, will multiple filters are also possible, right? Now uh, one thing also I wanted to tell you here. Now if you have where condition, right, where maybe billing state, right? Copy billing state equal to CA. Okay. So if you want multiple conditions to be, you can say, executed same time, and it needs to be checked, right? So here you can use and or, correct? So it will, after where it will check for both of the conditions if you are putting and it will check either of the conditions if you are putting or, if you are putting two conditions, right? Then you can do like let's execute it. Now you have two, you can say, records here, right? Now if you put another conditions, name, sorry, name equal to, let's copy this one. So what we are doing, we are having another condition. We need to concatenate these two conditions to use at the same time, right? With and operator. Okay, so and will be there, it will be having two conditions checked at the same time, just like you do with the and operator. Okay, now if you try to execute it, you will be finding only one, because in this case only both the conditions are true, right? So that's how you do it. And it will check for both the condition. If both are true, it will find those records only, right? So you can, same way you can use or also. So for visualizing the or, I mean, it will not throw any error you can put, but you might not be able to visualize it, because okay, so it is finding all the records, those are having been listed as California, and or the name is, you can say, this one, right? So the name was, I think, you can put any condition. That's what I meant, like, with and or, right? You can figure out the use case, right? So that's how you associate multiple conditions with where clause, right? So you can have more than one condition also. It's not like you can have two only. You can have more than one also. More than one, two, or three also, right? So that's how you can put your conditions, adding, or you can say associating with and or conditions. Okay. Now you have aggregation here also, right? So aggregation, like, Salesforce provide you some of the aggregate functions by default. So if you want some of the you can say aggregated value like count, sum, average, minimum, max, right? So then you can utilize these, right? So you can find all the example in the developer guide. Some of those are, you can say, mentioned here. So consider if you want to have the count of all the, you can say, records only, right? So you can put this, like, since we are using account, so we can use account only here. Okay. So here you can put, count, and it will take one parameter here also, that what you are actually counting, right? So then you need to tell this query, if you will be executing this only, it will only tell you that, how many, you can say, records are there, right? It can take parameters also, like if you want to count those fields are populated or not. Some of the fields you can give parameter like id also, because id is not empty in any case, right? So you can just put that parameter here also inside this parenthesis. Like in case of sum, it takes parameter, you see that kind of parameter it takes. In the count also it takes, but simply if you want to fetch the number of, you can say, records which are there, you can see here, you can see total number of records are there, right? 18. So you can put where condition also, right? So if you want to see, like, okay, with this condition, how many records are there, then you can simply get the count of those records, right? So this is aggregate function which you get to count numbers, right, of those records. And here you get the sum also. So if you put, you can say, this function here, then you need to give a field name here also, like, which field you want to sum. This field should be the integer or decimal, right? And then it will currency it can also take, basically whatever can be summed, right, that it can take as input, right? So then you will be getting the sum of all the, you can say, field. Let's try it. We are not working the opportunity. I'm not sure if this is having value or not, but let's try to show it. Now some of the opportunities is standardly having records, so those, you can see those numbers here, right? So if you go here in each opportunity and you do sum of all the opportunity amount field, then you'll be getting that number only, right? So that's how you can use. Some is a current, this amount is a currency field in the opportunity, right? So you can check, but yeah, that is amount field, right? Currency field, you'll get some of that here if you run this query. Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah, tell me.
Uh, this is calculating each record sum of, and this is calculating all the opportunity record.
Correct, because we are not putting any filter condition in this. Okay.
Mhm.
So if I put a filter condition after this opportunity, from opportunity keyword, if we are putting some condition with where clause or limit clause or anything, it will obey that also. Okay. So if I want some of the opportunities with specific conditions, we can extend this opportunity, right?
Okay.
And group by. Group by is a clause where, you can say, we can group the records, correct, based on a field, correct? So if you go here, let's see, we have not worked in any of the opportunity records, opportunity account records. Some of those we are having, but if you want to, group those, correct? Then if you see here, aggregate is also being used. You see, count is having an input here, input parameter here, ID also, right? So then you need to give the, you can say field name here also for which you want to count also, right? Then you see it is grouping by industry as a field there in account, right? Standard field. So if you try to execute it, you see it is grouping actually means in 7 records. Okay, so what it is asking, and whatever field you are grouping here, you need to fetch that field here also first thing, correct? So if you remove that field from here and try to execute it, right, it will give you only the counts, right? It will not give you the exact scenario, like which value you are having and which value you are grouping, right? So what it actually visualizing, you see, first thing you are fetching the industry, correct? Then you are fetching the count of IDs. Means if you select here ID, that means ID will not be empty anytime, right? So if it is not empty, then it will be counting all the numbers, right? So consider if you are having some field here that can be empty, then it will skip that record, right? So that way you can have issues counting the record. So if you put ID here, that means it will count all the record, because ID cannot be empty at any conditions, right? Now you are fetching those industry, okay, industry you are fetching. So you are, what you want with that industry, you want count, like how many records are there which have industry as any of those, right? Now if you see here, grouped by industry means you want the records to be grouped by industry. Means if some of the records are having similar value as industry, then they need to be grouped together, right? So if you see blank, so 7 records are there which are having industry as blank, correct? One record is there having electronics and till here, and 3 records are there which are having energy as industry, right? So this is basically grouping. Means you are having the count of, in the grouping you are finding count, right? Then you can see here, like uh, in all the values, first thing it will fetch all the values those industry field is having throughout the records, because we are only putting this group by, right? We are not putting any where clause or something, right? So it is fetching all the industries, and it is fetching count of the records according to the industry's value, okay? Because it is being grouped by this industry. So that's how it is, you can say, called grouping of the result, right? Now, group by roll up is also there. Group by roll up is little bit, you can say, different. It is parent to child also. So if you see, like parent to child, I have not explained. So let's do that first, and then later we'll be explaining this one, so that you'll be having more idea. Simply, this is, you can say, soccer, which because roll up is always you can say accessible with parent child relationship, right? It should be a master child relationship, then roll up can be accessed, right? For with the same scenario, you can say the example is of that kind only. It is doing with the within account and contact. So roll up is feasible within account and contact. So that's how it is. So let's understand first parent and child, or you can say relationship queries, right? So relationship queries means, like if you want to have related records fetched to, right? Then you need to execute those relationship queries, right? So means there are two ways. You need to go from parent to child, or you need to go from child to parent, right? So consider if you want to go from parent to child, means from parent to child means, consider we are having the older one, Okay, this one is okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so if you execute it, close other one. So now you are simply working on account object, right? Now you want to fetch some contacts also, right? So those are associated with the you can say account object, right? So basically after from whichever account will be there, so you are working on that account. How you will be recognizing that which is parent and which is child, right? So for this purpose I'm telling you, in the basic structure, select and from. Okay, that's how you identify your basic your primary query, right? This is select and this is from, and inside between those you are having fields mentioned, and after from you are having the object on which you are making the query, correct? So this is the basic structure, and that will be your current object you are working on right now. If you want to fetch the parent record, then you will be using the parent record method, parent record fetching method. And if you want to fetch child of that account, that record you are sorry, that object you are having here, then you will be using the child query, right? So that's how you identify parent child, at least in the first step, right? Now if you go here and you see that after from we are having in this you can say example only, after from we are having account only, right? So if you see, after from we are having account only. So then after from means in the basic structure select, you see this is what subquery calls, right? So if you want to fetch child from parent means from account we are having query on account this time, correct? Now we want contact also. Contacts are child to account, that we already know, right? So relationship in this case you need to know the relationship, right? If you don't know, then go and explore the schema and check it what relationship both the objects are having, if you want both of the records fetched together, correct? Then if you want to fetch from parent to child, then you need to write a subquery, means inside query. Okay, so this is the main query. If you see, select id name from account, this is the main query, and then inside that separated by comma, just like a column, you need to put the second query inside parentheses, right? So whatever values you want, these will be coming as a column only, right? So whatever values you want, you will be putting here, same way subquery from context, right? So that's how you put a subquery when you are going to fetch, you can say, childs from the parent, right? So account is parent in this case, context is child. Now you need to pay attention here. Here you are putting contacts, not contact, correct? Why is it? Because contacts is the relationship name, right? Now first you execute this one. Let's see how it is behaving, right? Now you see you are having first column here, second column here, and third column as a contacts, right? And inside that contacts, if you see, copy it and go here, paste it, right? Now you see you are having first name, last name, first name, last name separated by comma. Now if you see here, you are only desire first name and last name, right? But this contact is having sorry, this account is having two contact, right? So now you are getting an array here because you are having two, you can say you can have multiple child records, right? So you will be having an array here. Just need to structure because this you will be accessing a lot, guys, right? So this is very important, just pay attention. It will take 5 minutes, but it is very important, right? So if you will be fetching child, then whatever you'll be getting in the third, you can say column, or in whichever column you are expecting, first you need to know the name of this, right? Because you will be accessing inside Apex with this name only, right? So this is child relationship name. That's why you are fetching contacts here, not contact, right? So that I'll be showing you inside that you can say object manager also. First you see how the structure looks like. Okay, you see this is an array. Because why it is array? It is array because uh, you can have multiple childs to one parent, right? So first thing, it is array. Now you see it is array of objects, correct? So it is having object here, first object, second object. So basically what you are fetching here, you are fetching an array of objects. Very important, very much important, guys, right? So you are having here simple data type what you are fetching. If you want to identify which data type this name is, this is a string, correct? You know, if you go there in account, you know this is a string, right? But as soon as you'll be accessing this one, because this will also be returning as object of array of object, right? These all inside Apex, this will be returned as array of object. Every, you can say, account record will be an object here, correct? And inside that account record, there will be an array of object in this column, correct?
Avi,
And that array of
Naresh,
object looking like this. Yeah.
uh, Naresh having a question. Naresh, can
Yeah.
you go ahead?
Sir, as you know, we said these are the array of object, but
Mhm.
first name seen and second is first name is rows, but these are the index column.
No, here in object, these are being returned as key and values only, correct?
No?
So
Okay.
here also, if you see, here you are not able to visualize because in if you will be going in the Apex now, here in the I have that already planned. Don't worry. Okay. So how you will be going to access those SOCL returns, right? Then only I will be explaining you that this whatever you are seeing here as a table, right? This is UI, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But in the code there will be no UI for you, correct?
Okay.
So then when you will be accessing that, so how it will be looking? So consider if we are not having this column, just consider we are not having this column, we are having only these two columns. Okay, let's copy this so that your confusion is clear. Okay, I'm just copying this here and I'm removing this subquery. Okay, for now. So this is looking like this, right? In a table. But do you know exactly how it is in the form of, you can say, code, how it is looking? So let me tell you how it is looking. It will be looking like this. First, it must be an array because you are having multiple values returned.
Yes.
Correct? Pay attention, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
you are having two columns in each object. So you are having multiple objects returns. Correct?
Okay.
You are having array. Now you are having multiple objects. We know, okay, we are having multiple objects separated by comma. That's how you will be having array of object, correct?
Okay.
This is an array that is holding objects inside it, correct? Object is of a special kind, that is account. Don't worry about it. Basically it is an object or not. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yes.
I am taking example of 3 so that I cannot put that much, right? So this is the structure you are getting in return of that query, correct or not?
Okay, and we can say for a particular ID, for a particular row, and we can access on zero index.
Yeah. That I'm going to explain. First thing, very initial thing, so that you are not having any confusion. Once and it is once clear, it should not be having issues. First thing, what type you are getting as return? You are getting as array of object, correct, na?
Yeah.
Now, what each object is holding here? Each object is holding here two, you can say,
ID and name.
ID and name, correct, na? So how objects are, you can say, defined here like this? You are having ID, correct?
Yes.
Don't worry about the values.
Yeah.
Then some value should be there, comma,
Name.
name, correct, na?
Yeah.
That's how each object is structured, correct or not? Right?
Yeah.
Now if you cut here and you paste here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it.
That's what you are getting in this case, na?
Yeah.
Now you are having those values, you want to put it.
Mhm.
But now as soon as this, you can say, we are doing this subquery here, this one, now what we are getting?
Yes.
We are getting here as third column,
In this two.
this one, okay? Get it?
Yeah.
Now we are getting in the third column this array only, right? And what this third column is named, this third column is named contacts, and sorry guys, if it is a little bit hashy, don't worry, it cannot be clearer than that. Okay, this is the structure you are having now. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
understand, right? So this contacts node, it is it is a kind of JSON, right? But a
Yeah.
little bit different. So this node is holding this whole array, correct? As
Yeah. Yeah.
child, right?
Okay.
Inside that you can access. Now you understand, correct? The structure.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
very much important, guys. Very, very much important. If you are you cannot even touch the socle if you are not knowing the structure. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the child structure and this is the parent structure, the whole. In from this parent structure only you will be accessing the fields of the why you are fetching the child record because you want to access those fields, correct? In some way. So that will be the structure. It's very much important, right? So inside this context node. But now just let's be clear with this one. We are up time up, but let's be clear on this child relationship name, right? So why this one? Because we know the object name is contact, right? Everybody knows, I think the object name is contact, not contacts, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go to object manager.
When we define the object, when we set to
Yeah, when you create a field, right? If you
Mm.
consider if you are creating a lookup field, at that time you get your child relationship name, right?
Yeah.
Everybody remember that, na? I consider
Mm.
you guys knows the admins, right? So
Rural
if
level.
you see here, this is account, right? So if you go here in contacts, okay. So this is the object name. If we
Yes.
fetch a parent query, we'll be putting contact, right? But in this case, we are putting contacts, right? Why? I'm sorry, right? Now here you give attention. You are having account as a lookup here, right? This
Yeah.
is lookup, but you already know this is a special relationship, right? But this is lookup, right? Now if you open it, here you see what is the child relationship name?
Content.
Contacts, man. So that's what you will put pushing when you will be accessing from parent to child, then you will be referring to this child relationship name, correct? Now because you will be having a lookup field, right? You need to have at least lookup or master, right, in order to get a relationship. So from parent to child if you are fetching, then you need to refer this child relationship name only. That's how we are referring here the child relationship name, right? And that will be your node also, correct? That will be your node also. It's very important, guys. Practice it a little bit, little bit you can practice with other objects also, because I have explained between the account and context, you can do with the account and opportunity, right? Same relationship you are having, parent to child. So if you want to access from parent to child, you need to write a subquery, and in subqueries where clause in subqueries from clause after from, you'll need to mention the child relationship name. Okay, this is the standard one. Now if you want to fetch the you can say custom object relationship, then you need to append it with the underscore r, right? Maybe I can show it quickly, very quickly, that also, so that at least we'll be finishing up the parent to child. Okay, let's see, we are having here guest 10 booking. Okay, so look up guest. Okay, okay, so let's see from guest. ID name is fine. First let's see if it is working or not. Okay, so these are all the guest records we are having. This is custom, right? So if you need to fetch record from the custom object, you need to have underscore c here, right? Simply API name, correct? Now if you want to subquery, then you need to go here and check. Consider we want booking records also, right? Then you see, and here you don't have that you can say mentioned here any, you can say child relationship, right? So what you need to do, this API name is used there. So what you need to do, you need to go here and you can put your subquery inside parentheses, select ID. Just we are fetching ID, nothing else. Okay, select ID from bookings. Let's see details. Should be like this. Otherwise, time over will be that also right. Booking underscore also right. Okay, it is throwing some error maybe. Okay, let's wrap up, guys. Don't worry. So first, you understand till here. Okay, we are up to the time till here. If you want to fetch those, you can say custom objects, then you need to put API name, simply API name here. So you know that API name is followed by underscore C, right? Now you know in the standard objects how to fetch from parent to child, right? This document I will be providing. So from parent to child till here we have covered, right? So till here you can practice a little bit. It's very important, guys. Just practice, because tomorrow I will be ending this SQL and SOQL and SOSL maybe, right? And I will try to cover this one also, where you can work with at least your sockles, right, in Apex. So for this one you need to know this structure, right, of sockles, correct? Then you at least do that much. Tomorrow we'll be covering from here also. We'll be working a little bit about with the custom objects. Okay, so how to fetch the custom objects, you see here. Relationship I will be telling you tomorrow. Child to parent also, it's remaining. Child to parent will be doing tomorrow. And then how to get those, you can say, semi joints and anti joints also, right? How to use date literals also. Then these are the date literals, some of those are mentioned here, right? Combining that, I have already told you how to combine those conditions, right? I've already told you when we are doing that, right? So with null values, it's simple, it's just a simple condition, right? And subquery you already have seen, I think, right? You can see, how to utilize that subquery in case of it is not a relationship, but you want to utilize in where condition, right? So that you can use alias. It's not used a lot, but it's a concept, right? So basically I have covered everything, right? What you can do, you can go to developer guide also, try a little bit. You can, otherwise you just do the document first, otherwise you can get confused there, right? So just follow the document till here, till relationship, right? Tomorrow we'll be starting with the other relationship also, and with the custom objects also, right? So I'll prepare a little bit data into the custom objects so that you can visualize it. Okay, so any question till here, guys?